Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, man, we are back around the water cooler tonight, man. And tonight's show is gonna be a good one, man. This is a continuation of Friday's show. So you know what? We ain't gonna hold you up too much longer. Let's get into it. Eugene Asante, bring us in.
Boys and girls of all ages, you're tuned into the Water Cooler Talk Podcast, the biggest podcast in the world. Yeah.
You are now tuned in to Water Cooler Talks, covering everything you love about college football, especially everything going down in the SEC Conference. So, if you love college football, you need to lock in. And now, your hosts, Nick Frazier and Marcus Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, boy, we back around the water cooler, ladies and gentlemen, man, and we appreciate y'all so much for continuing to rock with us. My name is Nick Frazier, one half of the Water Cooler Talk Podcast, and my guy, you can't see him yet, but you can hear him. Tell him who you are, boss man.
Marcus Fitzpatrick, let's go, let's get it.
Yes, and we appreciate y'all so much for continuing to rock with us here around the water cooler. As always, ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all so much for continuing to rock with us.
Most definitely.
As always, can't thank y'all enough. Tonight with us, the man, the myth, the legend from Tight Sports, the Alabama Football Megacast. Give it up for Tight Sports.
All right, in the building. You on mute, Tight.
You on mute, Tight.
You may all be seated. Take your seats, Auburn people. Take your seats. I'm just. Wait a minute. We got celebrities. I gotta take a picture.
This man right here.
I ain't never been on somebody famous before.
Shout out to Tight, man. Right. Shout out to Tight.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
I gotta send that to my auntie in DC. What you in there with that camera for? Auntie, I'm doing big things. Need to go out and work.
Tight Sports is rocking with us tonight. And ladies and gentlemen, as we teased yesterday, as we said yesterday, our guy, he's been on here with us a couple of times. He's back tonight because he's going to give his perspective on the state of college football and this loyalty thing in college football.
Loyalty.
From the Uptempo Podcast, one half of the Uptempo Podcast. My guy, Dustin, what's up, Dustin? How you feeling, man?
Fellas. I'm excited to be here, man. Thank y'all. I watched the show Friday night. I was just kind of sit back. I had the Auburn baseball game on. I was playing a little Xbox. I had you guys on and had you guys in the earbuds, and just a really good conversation, man. I think it's important that we have this conversation because we're not all going to agree on these kind of things. Everyone's going to have their own opinion. What I hate, though, is the crowd that acts like the people that have a problem with some of the stuff going on or just, shut up, go away. What are you talking about? You're going to keep watching. And it's like, I might not. You might be looking around at some empty seats in 5 or 6 years. So don't dismiss it. I'm just really excited to be on here and talk about this with you all tonight. Everyone's got an opinion, man, for sure.
Of course. This is going to be a good conversation. It was a good conversation Friday night.
Yeah.
This is going to be an even better conversation tonight. So can't wait to hear what everybody thinks and says. We're going to try to go deeper in this conversation. Hopefully we can try to
deeper and deeper.
Hopefully tonight, my goal for tonight is to be able to solve college football's problem.
Yeah, let's go.
For tonight.
Okay.
If we can do that in 45 minutes to 55 minutes, that'll be
great. I'm glad I wore my catheter.
This man tight, man.
Conversation. I'm ready to go though.
This is it, man. This
is
it,
diaper, baby.
Y'all, man, for continuing to rock with us here, man. Before we get into it, as always, man, make sure you follow us on Facebook at the Water Cooler Talk Podcast on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at the Water Cooler Talk. Follow us on Twitter if you have a Twitter at CoolerSpot23. And of course, subscribe, like, share, hit the notification bell button here on YouTube because we are on our way to 700 subscribers, man. We are trying to get there.
We're
trying to get there. So help us out, man. We're gonna make it soon, very soon, one day. We appreciate y'all, man. Let's get into it, man. Let's look at the comments. We got a comment section going on before we get up in here. Let's see. Does JT have a quote of the day? JT got a quote of the day for us, man. JT said, "Put a cookie in front of a child, and you can expect them not to take it." Well, that's what's going on here. Just replace the cookie with money. And that's from one and only Pat McAfee, man. Shout out to JT with the quote of the day. Rocking with us here as always, man. Auburn Dad says, "War Damn Eagle." What's up, Auburn Dad? How you feeling?
AD4L.
What's
How you doing?
up, JT Auburn dad in the building?
Let's see what else. Auburn that said once there was loyalty, but nowadays it's rare. It's a rare word in the capitalist society where it's a culture player or even a university. Only thing loyal anymore in college football is fans, because that's all. Shout out to Auburn dad for giving us that very insightful analogy. No, it's not. It's not an analogy. That insightful comment. I'm gonna go there. That's what I'm saying. Shout out to Auburn dad. Tyrone Green said, "What's up? Let's go,
What's up, Tyrone.
Man,
what ain't it, Tyrone?
He coming. Hopefully,
What's
the man,
up,
the myth, the legend.
What's up, gang? What's up?
What's up, Tyrone saying War Eagle. JT coming in with the War Eagle. The legend of Sweet Sugar Bear Williams here is in here with us. What's up, my guy? C Hall is in the chat.
C Hall in the building
with us as well, man. Shout out to C Hall, man. JT back with another comment. He said he was at his kid's school, man, and they were singing a song from the States. And my daughter was in the background singing. And she said, "We love Alabama." And that just hurt it. Hey, I understand what you're saying, man. Everybody's speaking to everybody. I know Tight loved that one. It's that big op energy in the building. What are you talking about? For real? Man. They talking about Tight. I think they're talking about Tight, bro. They talking about Tight. I think that's what it is. Shout out to Tight, man. Everybody speaking to everybody in the chat, man. We want to get everybody comments up because all of y'all are important here, man. Auburn Dad said War Eagle, Nick, Marcus, and Dustin. And again, hello, Tight.
What's up? What's up?
Hi. My name is.
I don't know what's going on with the quarter of the day music, JT. The video won't play for some reason.
Man, we gotta redo it, man.
I gotta redo the video. I gotta redo the video. So I gotta really redo the video. So we gonna make that happen, man. 19 kids
remix.
Seeks millions. That ain't loyalty. I guarantee it. Of course, rocking with you, man. Was it loyalty of lack of options? I like that. Okay, then. C Hall with the Huggy Beard. When money is involved, from the king of the comments, he said loyalty is out the door. Shout out to him, man. And C Hall, they talking about you Tight. They said there's a spy in the building. That's what they saying, man.
Yes, I'm here to educate you on excellence. Pay attention.
Wow, that's crazy.
That boy be talking that noise, ain't he?
Jesus Christ.
Hey,
you too can be 9-4.
Oh my God, this man Tight is something else, bro.
That's heavy.
Tight, you are hilarious.
I'm coming here as a college football fan. Y'all want me to change my hat? No, I won't do it.
Anyway, let's get into the conversation tonight, man. All right. So let's, in the next 45 to 50 minutes, and let's just say about another hour.
Yeah.
Let's try to figure out how we can solve this problem in college football. But first, to solve the problem, we got to understand the problem. So, thing is, we had the conversation Friday night about the topic of the show was has the transfer portal officially killed loyalty in college football? Tight was on the show, Mark was on the show, DC was on the show. And we had some really good takes on the show. I kind of looked at it from more of a business perspective. I think everybody else was kind of looking at it more from a fan thing with a little bit business involved in it, because you got to understand my point of view from it. I see college football more now as a business, as it looks more similar to the NFL than anything. So that's how my analysis come. So before we get into that, Dustin, you didn't have an opportunity. So I'm gonna get your thoughts on this part first. So, and I'm just asking a question. Has the transfer portal officially killed loyalty in college football?
Has the transfer portal killed loyalty? It certainly hasn't helped it. But when I was thinking about this today, and like to start this off, a lot of y'all were discussing on Friday, maybe there are people that like just the NFL, or there are people that like, and y'all talked about how there are people that like college, but they don't like the NFL because the money aspect of the NFL has always turned them off. So just to be clear on what kind of football fan I am, I'm at a game every Friday night. I watch all day Saturday. I watch all day Sunday. But I've always liked the college game more. Right. You know, I've, like a lot of people watching the show, used to wake up as a kid, 9 a.m., turn on Lee Corso and the boys, and then all the way through Pac-12 after dark. So I've always loved the NFL, love my Buccaneers, all that kind of stuff. I've always loved high school football, but college has always been my favorite sport. Like most people that grew up in Alabama, right? You get to pick one or two teams.
Exactly.
My dad said he grew up in Bruton, Alabama in the 80s. And he said that it was all kind of Paul Bear Bryant. He picked Auburn just to be different. My papa was a big Alabama fan. My aunt's a big Alabama fan. He picked Auburn just to piss everybody off. And now I get to sit here and take shit from people like Tite because we can never beat them on the scoreboard. So, but just as a you know, the base, the foundation, so you know who I am. I love football, all of it. But I love what made college different. It's not just the portal that has got it in danger. And I know we're going to speak on the portal tonight, but like I thought about this today. Some of the things that I think are really have got college football in trouble. One, regionality going away.
Agreed.
With all of the conference moving around and all this, and you have Cal in the ACC, and now all of a sudden, for the first time in 100 years, Cal's not playing USC and UCLA. That's not good. As an Auburn fan, guys, I don't care about Auburn versus Oklahoma. I only care about it in the context of Auburn's playing Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So this is the game my team has to play this week.
Right.
But you can't make me hate Oklahoma. I hate LSU because I grew up my whole life battling out with LSU. I hate Ole Miss. I hate Mississippi State. Now, for the first time, we didn't play any of those teams last year, and we're not playing them again this year. I don't care about Missouri. I don't want to play Missouri in back-to-back years. So that's one thing. You're cutting out the regionality of it, which has always made it a big thing. So then, in turn, that takes rivalries away. There's a lot of discussion about what's going on with the NBA. Why are the ratings down? Part of it is because the rivalries are gone. I used to be tuned in with Joakim Noah and Derrick Rose trying to beat LeBron in the Heat. Or that Pacers team with Stevenson and Roy Hibbert and all those guys trying to beat the Heat. And I know there was some player movement there, but it was still that same core, right? And these rivalries built. Same thing in college football. You're literally taking away Auburn versus LSU, which every year since 1992 has been a crazy game. And now all of a sudden, we don't have it. Rivalries away. My favorite thing in college football and all the sports, you should be those 3 weeks of bowl game. I don't even think they should count on the records now, or maybe the coaches should come together beforehand and agree if it should count on the record. Something. But, I mean, I sat there at that Music City Bowl where Auburn played Maryland 2 years ago, and I said, never again, bro. Never again will I come watch this. Like, it ain't it. It ain't it. Have y'all ever seen this lack of interest in the Heisman Trophy? I mean, no one even cares.
Wow, that's deep.
No one even cares about it. And then on top of that, this is all coming post lack of physicality. Now, if you hit the quarterback, it's a rough in the passer. Remember when that was the big thing we were all complaining about? But we love the sport so much that we just got used to the kind of the new crap. Yeah. And we kind of know if you hit them too hard, you're going to get – we still all have complained about the targeting rule. Everybody hates it. Should it be a penalty if you hit somebody in the head? Sure, but should they get kicked out of the game if they didn't mean to do it? But they haven't changed it. We've overlooked so much stuff. Man, they just looked us in the face and said, we're speeding up the clock because we know y'all want the game faster. When no one said that, and all it did was add 90 more seconds of commercials every commercial break.
That's
the
right.
broadcast is still 3.5 hours long. You're just shoving more. You got more commercials in my face and less football. We didn't ask for the clock to be sped up. So there's so many things that are happening here. And then on top of that, college players had 4 years. If you redshirt 5, you already had a small amount of time with these guys. And now it's like he might come and then leave before he ever even plays a game. I've never seen this big of a lack of interest in high school recruiting. I mean,
that's a good point. Yeah, because I'm gonna pause right there. To your point right there. I'm sorry. I just had to go because that's a big one to me because National Signing Day in February used to be a big day. For me. Used to be, it's not anymore. But I just want to get out of there before it slipped my mind. Is the portal killing loyalty? It's just to say yes or no to me. It's like it's a much deeper thing than that. I would say I wish we had a freaking time machine and we could go back to the 90s, late 90s, and tell the NCAA there's a way to avoid a lot of crap in the future.
Right.
Don't be ignorant. In 2010, there was 35,000 blue number 2 jerseys in Jordan-Hare Stadium. Why didn't you allow it to say Newton and just give him his cut?
That's a good point.
Have some foresight. They should have known with the Ed O'Banion case, with the video game.
hey, there's trouble coming down the pipe. This can go out a lot bigger than this.
Right.
And they kept fighting it. And then they said, you know what? We're not winning in court no more. So now there's no rules. There's no guidelines. Here you go. They used to think back to the situation with the kids at Ohio State with the tattoos and the pants. They went so hard on the dumbest stuff.
Yep.
To the point where when they got called out on it, they just said, okay, you know what? Let's go the complete other way. Right. And the frustrating part about it is there are a lot of us out there that are pro player. I'm pro player. It doesn't sound like it on some of my content lately because the thing is, it can't be all the way in either basket. I wasn't for it when all the power was in the university with the university and the coaches, and I'm not all for it now that it's like all with the players. There's got to be something that makes sense, guidelines that make sense for the coaches and then that keeps the fans engaged. Roster continuity is a big thing. If you get used to watching guys and liking guys and seeing their story and all that kind of stuff, and if it's just constantly flipping, I mean, just as a fan, this is what I feel like right now. Let me know what my roster is when fall camp starts.
Right.
And then I'll evaluate it and I'll see what we have. Right. I don't think that's a healthy place for college football.
It's changing.
What has to wrap this all up? Has the portal killed loyalty? I think the portal with the limited guidelines, the portal combined with no guidelines around NIL have killed loyalty. And listen, it goes both ways because there's a guy that's going to coach the Jacksonville Jaguars this year, and Liam Cohen, that has coached in 13 different spots in 13 different years. I wouldn't touch that guy with a 10-foot pole because he ain't got none either. So it's not all on the players, and everything is different, right? If like a Janai Broom, you go from Morehead State to Auburn, and it obviously was the right move, but then you look at what CBM's going through. So every situation is a little bit different too. But it's not just the portal. It's not just the NIL. It's not having anybody in charge. The NFL, you've got Roger Goodell. He's got 32 owners to answer to. Mm-hmm. There's a structure there. College football is the Wild West. Everyone's looking out for themselves. Everything that made the sport different than the pros is crumbling underneath it as we speak.
It's gone.
And I'll leave it here. You know, I watch stuff on Saturdays, and again, I love college football. But a lot of people watching are Auburn fans. Y'all know the mistakes in game that Hugh Freeze made. That kind of crap wouldn't be tolerated in the NFL, but it's college. The NFL is an elite level of football. If they just become the exact same thing, if you've taken out what makes college, why would I just not watch the better players and coaches?
Yeah, they're gonna start flipping coaches after a while, pretty quick, a lot quicker.
Yeah,
if it goes to that, yeah.
Ty, go ahead with your thoughts, man.
Oh, I had to get one. I thought this man was like probably in his 30s. He sounded like he about 65. I thought he was about when Red Grange was out there. Oh no, you hear him talk about no contracts. No, I agree with everything he said. You know, he hit it at the micro level, and I don't even want to add too much to it except for this. Earlier, I referred to this guy being a coach at Texas, but he's a coach at Tennessee. Buzz Williams actually broke down this whole theory, this 6-year theory he's had since before Marquette. Marquette was nothing when he got there. But he knows if he does a good job, they elevate themselves up and people start asking questions. When you going to get to the Final Four? Should we give you a contract extension? So in his mind, he said it's time to go. So he went over to Maryland, did the same thing. 6 years, it's time to go. And Tennessee fans, guess what's going to happen when he hits 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? He's out of there. He has no restrictions. And back to what Dustin was saying, 1951 is not the first profitable school that they know of. They know Michigan State made $240,000 off their athletics that year. And you're right. The reason we have this wild west thing going on is because nobody said, let's organize this. And you know how to organize because I'm telling you, you got to have a collective bargaining agreement. You got to have unions. I don't care if they change that much. People change jobs quicker than that that are in unions as well. And it's going to start looking like the NFL. So loyalty is what keeps me watching Alabama, you know, but I agree. I get sick and tired of trying to find out who is UCLA playing this year? Because I was trying to figure it out earlier. I couldn't even figure out the conference. And another thing I think that Justin could have added to that list, while it feels good right now, this discussion of the Big Ten and the SEC calling the shots at the end of the year, some kind of way, how long you think the rest of the college football landscape is going to let that happen? And based on the past champions, it's possible the SEC could lose out one day eventually. Like, we're not the predominant athletic conference in football down there. It's possible, because we ain't picked up one in a minute. So then you have Big Ten just taking over everything. They calling all the shots. They determining how, but they say they're going to get 4 teams from their conference. They say the SEC is going to have 4 teams. What if they come one day and say, let's just have 3 teams from the SEC? Nobody likes them anyway. They're not going to win it. I don't like that whole setup either. So it's a lot of things that somewhat are worse than the pros. They expanded their playoffs. We expanded our playoffs, but now they constricted it down to where it's like these preset things for the 16 round of 14. I don't like that, because, like I said, I'm a small school guy where I actually went to school at Tuskegee, and I still think these group of 5, they need to be given their fair opportunity to compete for this thing. I don't know how to make it fairer, but it's not going to get fair. And I tell you, I think the SEC and the Big Ten are actually plotting on the Big 12. They want to take them out.
Yeah,
for sure. They want to take them out. I mean, Big 12 is like, it doesn't take no skin off my back for the Big 12 to get hurt. But it does bother me in a traditional way of saying that I'm just shocked the Pac-12 is gone. I still haven't wrapped my mind around that, because inside of that, you had the basketball Pac-12, you had the baseball Pac-12, you had, you got John Wooden, for Christ's sakes, was in the Pac-12 with all those championships, and it's hard to stay loyal to something that changes that much. I think it'll dip down, like I said, but it'll come back, because people there are 12-year-olds becoming 14 and they get the remote control, or they get their own TV, and it'll go back up, because they're good at keeping our attention and our focus through advertising and ABC, ESPN, and all that stuff. But I really do like what Dustin said about those other micro issues and how they all add up. It's powerful.
Yeah. Marcus, what you got on it?
Man, those guys are tough acts to follow, man. Like Dustin said, it's the Wild Wild West right now, so it got to be some type of regulation. I feel like the NIL and the transfer portal, their problems kind of go hand in hand, some of them. Yeah. And so, like, once you police one, I think the other one will kind of fall in line. So it's just like, my biggest issue is, like, I feel like before they rolled it out, they should have had a better plan. And I feel like now that this beast is loose, it's going to be tougher to try to police it. It's going to be now you're going to have to roll out different type of blueprints instead of having a model ready, because you're going to have to throw a lot of different things at this I feel like to police it better, because it's a lot of loopholes in what they have now. So it's going to be a lot of loopholes in the first layout of them regulating it. So that's just my stance on it.
Yeah, Dustin was speaking, and I kind of wrote down bullet points of everything that you said, and the 3 that stuck out to me, and these are the 3 that I kind of want to talk about, because I feel like this is the reason why we are where we are now. Regionality / rivalries,
yes,
bowl games, and then what's the third one that I wrote? Roster continuity. That's
the continuity. Yeah, that's the one.
So, so I don't care. The region, you got to understand where I'm coming from for this. The regionality part of it, that's an ESPN problem. That's a very ESPN problem, because what ESPN did was they packaged a bunch of games, put it out to all of the country, and people started liking it now. And so now what you're starting to see in the SEC is a product that in any business, if you look at any business, if you have a great product, right? You want that product to go out to as many people as you possibly can.
Right.
You want it to sell as much as you possibly can. So now, in order for that product to sell, that means you have to put that product up against other great products. So now you're going to start seeing games that we really don't really care about. And I wholeheartedly agree with Dustin that I don't care about Auburn playing Baylor and things like that. I don't care about that. I literally care about Auburn, Mississippi State, because guess what? At 12 noon, 25 years ago, in 2000, when Jefferson Pilot was on, that's the game that was on at 12 noon. Auburn, Mississippi State.
Cadillac ran for 6 touchdowns.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's the game I remember. Sports has always been a regional thing. Always has been. But ESPN came in and they found a way to package it and send it out to the rest of the country. And so now, when you're able to get advertised, when you're able to do that, and when you're able to package it, and you're able to distribute it, just like movies, when you're able to do that, and you're able to get advertisers to pay for it, so eyeballs can see it, so they can get some type of money to it, that's a problem. Second thing, college football playoff, which I should have put bowl game / college football playoff, and I'm gonna put that right there. College football playoff is a hot take right here. I think it's probably the worst thing that ever happened to college football.
Yes, you agree with Nick Saban, I think.
I think the college football playoff is probably the worst thing that ever happened to college football, because what you basically did was you just basically made the Super Bowl of college football. It's really what you did. Everybody's chasing for one trophy. In college sports, what we were known for, you were known for great bowl games. Kids being able to go play in bowl games that matter. You know, now guys are not even wanting to play in bowl games because the college football playoff is the goal. It is the goal. That's just how I see it. That's just how I see it. When you take away that ability for kids to look at it and just be like, man, all right, we won 10 games this year. All right, you knew if you won the SEC, guess what? You're going to the Sugar Bowl.
Right.
You knew that.
Right.
You're going to New Orleans. You knew that. If you didn't make it, guess what? You more than likely gonna go to the Music City Bowl, which when it was called the Gaylord Music City Bowl. I remember that.
And if you just got in, you go into the Poulon
exactly
Bowl down in Shreveport, Louisiana.
But the thing is now, because of basically playoff splits that teams and stuff gets by making it to the college football playoff, just not as many advertisers even looking to actually sponsor a lot of bowl games. Teams are not even interested in it. So people are going to follow the money, because wherever the eyeballs are, that's where they're going to follow, because that's where they have the chance to maximize the dollar in this situation. And the one thing that I think is the biggest one is roster continuity. I was looking at it. Me and DC was talking about this a couple of months ago. We was like, man, we gotta continue to look at Auburn roster, because we honestly don't know who's on the team every year from year and out. We just be like we looking at numbers. Like normally I could look at the numbers. Like if you gave me just a number, like a list of numbers from Auburn, I could be like, oh yeah, I know who that is. Now I'm looking at it and like, all right, who is that? Who this new guy is? And shout out to Auburn Dad, because Auburn Dad just gave us some breaking news in the chat that Rayshawn Pleasant, Tulane cornerback, has committed to Auburn.
Okay.
So
I'm just losing out.
I'm seeing the same. And the funny part about that is, and to make my point to that, he will now make 45 new faces on Auburn's roster this year through college recruiting and through the transfer portal.
I'm glad that number is high. The higher it is, the worse y'all gonna be. Yes.
That's okay.
That's wild, Ty.
I'm building a theory.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
It's a whole nother show.
But to your point, that makes a lot of sense, because basically now we're just in this wild west. This just very laissez-faire era of
mercenaries,
just free agency of college football. No guardrails, no nothing. But the problem with that is, I feel like you're not going to be able to kind of ring this in, because it's too big. For one, it's too big. It's too many teams, in my personal opinion. How are you gonna collective bargain 5,000? Let's not even use 5,000 players. How you gonna collective bargain 35,000 players
at the conference level?
You can't. So the only way you can do it, no, you can't. It won't be effective. It won't be effective for everybody. So what you have to do is what you have to do. You have to do it on the, like Ty said, you have to do it on the conference level, maybe even on the school level. at some point in time.
Yeah.
That's something like that.
I think you got to do it on the conference level because the conference is on the way that, okay, Vanderbilt's not still taking players all season long. While, Alabama says we're only going to have one portal for football players in whatever month. But Vanderbilt like, hey, you leave when you want to over here. You coming back and forth. And the biggest thing would be out of that whole collective bargaining thing would be a salary structure. It could be not the money you can get from advertising, but what the school has agreed to pay. It could be probably orchestrated collectively with the players and their representatives, their official representatives. Because that's the problem with the portal right there. Unofficial representatives, there ain't nobody licensing nobody, ain't nobody registered with nobody. It's tight sports portal management calling kids, talking about some, yeah, man, I know some teams give you $500,000, guy like you, and the kids are listening. I hear a lawyer on X, he's talking about it all the time. He's in that world. And a lot of these people coming out of bus stations and, shade tree mechanics, they're out here just working deals for people because they can. Yep. But inside the NFL, you got to be on that list, partner. If you ain't on that list, nobody has to listen to you. Or your player has to put your agent or your mama on that list. So that's what we need to call Miss Jackson. She'll work it all out with you. But right now, these kids, they getting calls, not even calls. They getting DM they in the Instagram sending the messages, and they are responding and they are breaking out when people least expect it. And I think even Alabama and everybody, they're gonna have to move your spring game, whatever it is, to after the portal closes. You just can't have a spring. It's advertising, too much stuff going on. People do want to have that scrimmage game. They're gonna have to move that thing to June, but that'll be so much like the NFL. It's ridiculous.
So I got a question for you guys. What do you think has to happen for them to try to put some regulations around the transfer portal or NIL?
I think Dustin got a great response for this one.
I think that this Nico situation is kind of blowing the top off of this. I think Josh Pate at Late Kick has done a great job of kind of discussing that, a guy that talks to the movers and shakers, and he feels really good about the situation. A guy that I think he means it when he says he loves the sport of college football. Right. And I think that it'll be interesting now to see what happens. Does Arkansas get this money back from Nico's little brother? That whole, I think it was $200,000 from what I was reading. Yeah. And do they get that money back? And how does that whole situation play out? Again, I wish we had a time machine and could go back and say, guys, how are you not? How do you not see this is going to be an issue? Because, like you said, Marcus, these issues go hand in hand, and they kind of unleash them with no guidelines at the exact same time. Like the exact same time they get introduced to these coaches, these schools, to the college football world, and like maybe it wouldn't have been as bad if there was some structure around the portal and they had to work out the NIL or vice versa. But now it's just they both.
Question for you, Dustin. Do you feel like the NCAA was like, all right, we've been trying to fight against it so long. Yeah, just have a way with it.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I think they got tired. Yeah, Marcus, I think they got tired of losing in court. I think they got tired of spending money in court and losing.
And here's the thing, the NCAA passes that cost on to the universities. It ain't like it's their money. Exactly. It's like, we lost? Oh, man, it's messed up. Hey, call everybody and tell me to put in on this. Yeah. 300,000, everybody ought to do it. I mean, they don't care. They just, they are presidents and of the universities and stuff, but they pass that stuff on to every other school out here. It's
to fix it, it's like, for me, it would be start working on some of these other issues that we talked about. Like, you can't fix them all, but I mean, Nick, you're talking about they want to package these products and everything. There hasn't been a more entertaining product than Auburn versus LSU for the last 25 years.
Agree.
I mean, I have friends that like the Gators, that like Alabama, that are like, hey, I'm watching that game.
Right.
I'm watching that game because it's nuts every single time. And then you have to it's the emotion of being a college football fan. You know, when Bo Nix and somehow it was Brian Harsin that broke the curse in Death Valley, but it meant something to Auburn fans because, man, we've been going there every other year for 20 something years and we haven't got it done. And there was this built up frustration. And when you have rivalries, when you have that, like that kind of emotion, then that's what builds fandom. And on when it comes to like roster continuity, think back to, I remember when with bowl games, you would have a senior that had played at a school for 4 or 5 years. This was his last game, and maybe you were 9-3, but you cared about winning the Capital One Bowl and getting to that 10th win and sending your seniors out that had played on this for this school for 4 years with a dub. Now that senior on the team has been there for 1 year. He just transferred in from Maryland. He don't give a shit. So it's just like it just and then in the terms of regionality, right? What makes Auburn and Alabama so great? There's no pro teams in the state. Why do Ole Miss and Mississippi State hate each other so much? There's no pro teams in that state. And what it was for 50, 60, 70, 80 years was kids from that state picking a side, growing up, and playing each other in a game on Saturday.
Right.
Yeah, I'm glad we got a transfer as Auburn to add corner depth from Tulane. Oh, cool. I'm glad about the linebacker that adds depth from Maryland. Great. But 45 new guys, I don't care what you tell me. They're not going to be as bought in as to Auburn versus Georgia. They're not going to be as bought in to the Iron Bowl because they don't come from it, man.
Those guys are pretty upset over there.
Yeah, man, these fans are really upset about this. And, you know, situations are all different, but like Auburn's starting quarterback for the last 2 years was from outside of Chicago. So it's just like, yeah, and I didn't see the passion when we played Georgia from Peyton Thorne. I didn't see the passion. And I know I'm not trying to call Peyton Thorne out, but I'm just giving an example of like when you get 45 to 50 guys like that, yeah, that's hard to get them to buy in. And then you think, well, that's not specific to Auburn, is it? That's going on everywhere. So everyone's constantly changing players. These guys aren't really bought into the rivals because you care as a fan. Man, we lost to our rival last year. Man, we lost to Georgia last year. Right. But that player didn't lose to Georgia last year. He was on Maryland's team last year.
he was on Georgia last year.
Right. So he may have beat you last year on that team.
So I used to think about Burton. Burton came over from Georgia after winning that championship. I was like, why are you here again? I never understood him. I think he's in the pros. I was like, and then like if you thought that he was like taking plays off or he wasn't really going for that ball, you're like, see, that's because he got his ring. You know what I mean? How you, in my mind, I'm thinking like, what? Because I was like,
maybe it's just a business move. Like, okay, so
right.
I understand where everybody's coming from, but one thing I have noticed in my professional career is that yes, we care about the guys that grew up in the state of Alabama. We care about the guys that went to Viger and the guys that went to Williamson and the guys that went to Homewood and the guys that went to Benjamin Russell and the guys that went to Auburn High School growing up, either going to Alabama or Auburn, playing each other and doing that and having great games over years. As fans, we care about that. But from the business perspective of it, and that's why I said by saying I look at it from the business part. The one thing that they care about is the dollar. Is what they care about. And at the end of the day, that's going to rule. At the end of the day, is the dollar. Is it making money? And then but the thing about it is though, I hear people always talk about the fans don't matter. No, the fans do matter. They do. But guess what? Advertisers matter just as much as the fans do. They matter just as much to these universities. They matter just as much to CBS. They matter just as much to ESPN. They matter just as much to NBC. And guess what? They are the ones paying, writing very big checks to these organizations and paying these conferences billions of dollars in order for these conferences to be able and then passing that money along to the universities so that they can be able to put these guys on TV and be able to put teams on field. So
corporations are people, my friend.
Exactly. Well, who said that? Who?
Mitt Romney.
Exactly. That's what it was. Mitt Romney did say that corporations are people. So when you look at this, I completely understand. Yes, fans matter. Yes, we do. Because if they didn't, I wouldn't be on here tonight at 7:40 talking about Auburn and everything that how we should be able to fix the college, how we should be able to fix college football. But what we also have to understand as well too is that we live in a society where it's very capitalistic. It's not socialist, it's not communist, and it's definitely not an autocrat situation that we live in.
Dollar bill, yeah.
We live where people care about the dollar, and if it's going to make them money, they're going to do what's in the best interest of money. Now, you do have people that do care about morals and do care about the person and care about making the experience better. But if it's going to help you spend an extra $50 at the Auburn fan store or at the WWE has a pop-up shop, if it's going to help you spend that extra $50 to go buy a shirt, yes, I'm going to invest in it because it's going to help me make more money. So I mean, that's what it says. So I completely understand that, but there's an other side to it as well, that we are now living in this new era of college football that has kind of have been hidden from us. And I don't know if I said this. I don't know if I said this on the show, but I definitely have said this behind the scenes, that we are living in this era of college football to where before it's the same thing, but now players are now getting a piece of it. And it seems as if there's a sect of people who are like, man, why aren't they just doing this for the love and the pageantry of the game and things and stuff like that? Well, who was making all the money before we got in this NIL era, in this transfer portal era, and guys were starting to take a piece of it? Like, who was doing that then? Who was taking that piece of the pie then? So now some of that percentage is now being passed along to the players, and people are upset about it. But the thing that I always say, nothing's gonna get done until somebody decided they really want to do it, because at the end of the day, confusion makes a lot of money for a lot of people. Yeah. So I don't know. What are y'all?
That's very true, Nick. That's very true. I feel like the key to a lot of problems is what you were speaking about. And if you find a way to regulate how money is being distributed to players, you'll solve the problem.
Agree.
Meaning if you put regulations around how long a player has to be at a school before they receive their NIL payments, or figure out ways to do that right there, you will sustain a roster, because then guys will think about going before they jump ship. If I know if I can get a check right here that I can jump ship next year and get more money, what's keeping me here?
Yeah. I was listening to, I think it was Shannon Sharp, and somebody was like, these guys are moving. They're moving.
You said the name right there, Ty.
I think it was him. I don't know if it was him or somebody else.
You said anonymous.
You always have timing for something.
What
timing for stuff be kind of crazy though.
Hey, I'm just saying, I don't know who it was, but it was like, these people got to stop moving because this is not generational wealth money. I'm like, Vinny Microwave Johnson made $6 million in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
Now that man he started a business in the automotive industry, he went broke, came back and did it again. Now he's worth like $50 million. So some people could say, my cousin, I remember telling me, rest in peace to you, Robbie, but I said, you gonna take those scholarships? He said, man, my head hurt for the whole Saturday after the high school football game, so he didn't want to play no more. Played for like 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And if a player comes in, he's highly touted, he's having the same problem as my cousin, he might go and play a sophomore. Take a big contract or whatever, or in a deal, go to sophomore year, play a little bit, move somewhere else for more money, and ain't worried about NFL. He may make $3 million in the process because he got a couple of checkers rallies on his mind. I don't know. But mama got to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. So as long as that guy can make the moves, so mama don't have to work, or daddy can get that new zero turn. We don't care about him going to work. He get that new zero turn. The players are going to keep doing this. But I was thinking, what do you think if you had the agreement of all the players?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think there's a percentage say, hey, well, you played 25% of our offensive snaps last year as an offensive player, you're not eligible to transfer?
Wow.
I mean, I'm just, some percentage. I'm just saying, even under a collective bargaining, like if that was one of the stipulations, do you think that would fly? Like you played half our snaps last year, man. You ain't going nowhere.
I don't think it would, because if you ever looked at the NFL collective bargaining agreement, it's like
right. I don't get that.
Pages long. It's like it's a long agreement.
Oh yeah,
it's a bunch of legal jargon in there that you actually have to get a dictionary to understand it. Because I tried to read it one time and I was like, man.
but they have those rules in there about free agency.
Exactly.
Yeah, they got those rules about OTAs. Mandatory and non-mandatory. Those for rookies, rookie symposium,
rookie salary.
I mean, you think Georgia has not told us that we need to have these kids go sit down somewhere outside of school?
But I feel like that's what's tough about how they rolled it out. Like
they destroyed the whole paradigm. They took the courts to the paradigm and just destroyed it. Like whatever you was doing, don't do that no more.
Yeah, like I feel like it's tough how you roll it out, because like now you go from a college player receiving a stipend, quote unquote, to now he's a millionaire in a year, borderline a millionaire. So it's just like you go
in America.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like you go from not even putting any thought of regulation on it. Like you should have, it should have been baby steps, but you were like, forget it, take all of it.
It's just like the BYU player that they picked up. They got a freshman, they got a transfer, or a high school guy and a transfer. That the high school guy is supposed to be like first round in the NBA next year. They said it's like $7 million they've agreed to pay between the two of them. And now they're going to be a power in college basketball. The wife of the owner of Barstool Sports, she's the one that wrote that Underwood check. The whole thing, $10 to $11 million. That's where we are there. But I think eventually, if they don't produce a championship, BYU or Final Four there, or another championship with Bryce Underwood, I think sometimes it'll settle down too, where the money will kind of make more sense. That's why, and that's really why I said last August that I thought Nico wouldn't stay there, because the money didn't make sense coming out. It never made sense. I mean, I don't know the high school he played against. I don't know how tough that is. I know they got a lot of great quarterbacks. They come out of California and they play everywhere because they are a quarterback factory. But still, he's throwing against children. I mean, like somebody's children, who a lot of them ain't even thinking about college. And you paying them, what was it 2.5 right out? Or
it was 2 million, and then it went up to 2.2 in this year. This coming up season, he was supposed to make 2.4.
He and Bryce. I mean, and people complain about Bryce look like somebody's uncle now because he picked up some weight, so he like a grown man, but he kind of filling out. They don't like to do the right way. You gave this man 2.5. I'm eating steak and scripts every night. Gross. You know, if I'm 17, 18 years old. So I just think at some point, I think it'll naturally calm down. But if they want to put something in place, if they don't put anything in place, it could blow up at certain places, because some people want to win. Mark Cuban put the money in Indiana. Duh. You know, like some home builder put a lot of money into Arizona. It worked out pretty good from Arizona standpoint and Indiana standpoint. Are they done?
That's a good question. Hey, Dustin, Auburn doing the same to CBM because he signed an agreement in attorney, so they trying to recoup some too. How you feel about that, Dustin? What's your thought on the Chad Baker-Mazaro situation?
So what? Yeah, tell me, break it down for me. I'm not.
Yeah, I mean, you know, look, it's gonna sound hypocritical because it's somebody's gonna say this happened in our episode talking about it.
Yeah.
Someone's gonna say, well, you didn't have a problem with Janai transferring there. It's like, yeah, every situation is different. And to your point about players making business decisions in this current climate, like I've talked to parents of high school recruits, mainly for football, but I've had discussions with them about what is it like talking to these different collectives. And I've asked them about what is the collective like at Ole Miss or Auburn and Georgia, these schools that are recruiting you. Like, what is this landscape like? And the majority of the parents, it scares them. Because they're like, man, I don't want to mess the situation up, but I'm not qualified to deal with this.
Right.
I'm a construction worker, or, you know, I'm a restaurant owner, or whatever it is they do. I work at a car dealership and I just happen to have a kid that's 17, it's a 4-star prospect, and all of a sudden I got to negotiate $100,000 deal. Like, so it's, you know, on top of trying to think of the football and the relationship and all that kind of stuff. So I don't I don't knock any players in this current environment for looking at money and asking themselves, I have a short window here to make this money, most likely.
Mhm.
I need to maximize it and make the most money. I'm not going to knock them for that. My bigger issue is, when you talk about, so the extension of that, Nick, is yes, they are able to make these business decisions that involve this amount of money because of the investment of the fans.
Mm.
If the fans are not invested, then it won't happen overnight. But NASCAR drivers ain't making what they made in 2004.
Wow. That's crazy.
So I mean, Talladega used to have a 5-year waiting list on it.
Mm.
And now they'll walk up to you in Walmart and be like, hey, dude, if I give you this Talladega ticket, will you please come to our freaking track? and they wasn't one mistake that killed NASCAR.
Series of mistakes.
30.
Right.
It was 30 little ones where they just didn't listen. And they had all this money sitting there in 2007. And they said, what are you guys talking about? We're making a lot of money. They had all this money sitting there in 2012. They said, what are you guys talking about? We have all this money from these TV deals. And then like 2018 rolled around and they were like, hey, where did everybody go? So yeah, they can make these business decisions right now. But I don't know if the next, 4 or 5 years from now, that money might not be there, at least not to this extent, if they keep going down this path. Because
good point.
Enough people are tired of it.
Yep.
And like to the CBM situation, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Okay. Like,
he's 25, right?
He's 25, 26, whatever he might be. He ain't a kid.
I'm about his daddy.
Yeah, he ain't a kid, bro. Under Obamacare, he would have been off of his parents' health insurance. He would have had to be paid for his own. Look, Bruce Pearl stuck his neck out for the guy.
Mm-hmm.
He'd already had some trouble at other places. He'd already been on a couple of different teams. Bruce Pearl sticks his neck out. You have 2 really good years at Auburn. You went to the Final Four. And people took this as I was taking a personal shot. I'm not taking a personal shot. Listen, CBM has Kobe Bryant as his banner on Twitter. Mm-hmm. Kobe Bryant played for one team for 20 years, brother. Right. You try to be on your 4th team in 6. And the Kobe Bryant thing to do, in my opinion, is, hey, we just lost in the Final Four. Close game to Florida. I'm going to be viewed on this team coming back as one of the main leaders. If Tahad Pettifer comes back, people are going to be looking at you and Tahad as the returning people from the team. Do I think Auburn's going to make a championship run next year? Probably not. Like, it's at least a big question mark because you're going to have a whole new team. But if you're Chad and you think you're that dog, then why would you not come back to the team that almost won the national championship last year and try to go get that chip?
And where is he going
now, what is the?
We don't know yet.
Yeah, we don't know. I mean, it's still kind of up in the air because the money that he thought was there ain't there.
Oh,
he thought he was going to go get more money than what Auburn was offering, and come to find out, buddy, people pay attention. You did get kicked out the Bama game, and then DM people on Twitter that were talking bad about you and saying I make more money than you. Like, people see that clown behavior. You got kicked out of the Yale game in the tournament.
Yale,
and it's just like, bro, there's stuff to it to where you got to and our guy Ike over at the War Report, he talked about this, about these people like Nico and his family, or CBM and their family, not understanding the leverage. You go to Auburn thinking that you have enough leverage to negotiate more money. Well, Bruce and On to Victory looked at it and said, we're already paying you a handsome amount, and you already agreed to this amount. And now all of a sudden, because you heard through the grapevine, you might be able to get a few more. At what cost?
Instagram.
And this is the thing too. Man, there's so many places we can go with this. But like, I'll tell y'all when I quit watching the NBA, and I used to be a league pass guy. Okay. I was a league pass guy. I was a Kobe guy, so I used to stay up till 10 o'clock.
Late night,
tipping off, watching my guy Kobe to 1 in the morning, and going to work at 6 in the morning. I used to love the NBA. It wasn't one thing that made me quit watching. It was a bunch of little things. But whenever Kevin Durant joined the Warriors,
right,
I threw my hands up and I was like, bro, like
sucker move.
What are we like? It was just too much for me at that point. And that wasn't the only thing. There was a whole lot. That's a whole nother episode we could have. But like, there was a bunch of issues that led to that. That goes back to this continuity of roster thing, where when I look at like my Tampa Bay Bucks, I got a guy in Mike Evans who's been on my squad for 12 years. There's an emotional connection to that. Mm-hmm. I got a guy like Vita Vea, been on the squad for 8-9 years. There's an emotional connection to him, Levante David, Chris Godwin, all these guys. I can't get an emotional connection to a college player that's been on my team for 6 months. It's tough, bro. It's tough. And then the part that I don't hear anybody discussing is how it hurts player development. Let's use an example of Perry Thompson. It was this big revelation coming out of Auburn spring that Perry Thompson started to figure it out. And I'm asking the simple question, why is this surprising to anybody? He was a freshman last year that came in the summer. He wasn't even an early enrollee. Right. He was 18. It took him a year to learn the offense. It took him a year to get adjusted. This is a normal progression rate. Now, all of a sudden, we're looking at it in 1 year and saying, why didn't that top-rated guy play? Well, if he's asking that, what if Perry would have transferred? Let's just say Perry would have transferred at the end of last year. Where does he do? He has to go to a new team, learn a new system. He's starting over in that room. I would argue that it was better for Perry's development to stay at Auburn, continue learning this system, continue to grow. Maybe he doesn't get a whole lot of reps this year, but what if he stays next year? What if he just stays at Auburn throughout his career and he starts to pop his junior year and then has a great senior year and goes on to be a good pro? Right. Why is that so crazy now? Why do college players have to produce immediately or they're out? I don't understand it, and I think it hurts their development too. So, but it's just a lot, man. It's just a lot. I know. I think the coaches are.
No. That's a good point. That's a good point. Go ahead, Titan. I'm
I think the coaches some of the coaches, depending on where you are with your leverage at your school, what pressures you're under, and then it's depending on what you say in your press conferences. If you always say, we need the players, we got to get the players,
right, messaging matters.
Prime is famous for, I got to get some dogs in here, and he went and got the dogs, and the dogs got bit the first year. Then he went and got some better players, and it's starting to show. And it's depending on what message you've been selling your athletic director and what they telling him at the cocktail parties. Like, yeah, we put a lot of money to get that boy Keelan over here from Texas. Is he gonna start this year? Because Ty, he couldn't beat out Miro. That's what we couldn't beat out Miro. How he gonna be the quarterback? Like, he been here for a couple years learning the offense. Y'all don't give him no credit for that. Well, we saw him at USF, and we would have lost the game if he didn't play against USF the way he did. And he was like a redshirt freshman or something. So I agree with you. People, there are pressures coming in, and not necessarily from the fans. It's coming from the cocktail parties where they're telling people. And then the coach has to balance off. If I make Keelan Russell the starter, the quarterbacks is going to be left come August are going to be a sophomore and a senior. Don't nobody know their name because everybody else is going to leave. It's over for Ty. It's over for Austin Mack. We won't have any top-tier talent left in the room if I name this freshman as starter. That could be the same impact on your cornerbacks and receivers. You may not lose all your receivers like we did because we let a freshman go all wild last year, didn't we? And we lost 6 receivers behind that, 6 or 7. But you got to spread that thing out and manage it. But if you don't have the leverage at your school, you may make a rash move and player development out the window. I need to get somebody in and plug and play. I need to plug and play. And plugging and playing in college just doesn't work.
Yeah, to Auburn's point, the best example I can put on that is probably Walker White. I mean, Walker White even said it in the interview. He said, Coach Freeze told him if he wasn't the guy by year 2, he probably wouldn't even be the guy. And he just he took the moves that Auburn was making, bringing in Jackson Arnold, who you went out and allegedly, still put quotation marks on this, allegedly pay him, that amount of money to come in and be a starter. And right behind him, you have a guy who everybody is saying is going to be the future of the program. He looks at it as like, there's no path here for me to play. So I think to Tite's points, I do feel like as much as we sit here and say, as much as I have sat here and said, yeah, this is probably the prove year for Hugh Freeze. Before you start hearing the rumblings become a loud roar moving forward this year. As much as we say that, I don't think it really hits until you start seeing the people that actually have that rights to checks start saying something for
cocktail party
because they want a return on their investment. And also I feel as if a lot of guys are trying to pop now because yes, the goal is to get to the NFL, and you're looking at what the NFL is doing with contracts at certain positions. Now, if you are a quarterback, if you are a pass rusher, if you're a wide receiver or some cornerbacks, more than likely you're gonna get paid when you get to the NFL. Interior linemen, a lot of interior defensive linemen, linebackers, things and stuff like that, especially the running back position. If they look at your birth certificate and say something, if they look at your birth certificate and you are 29 years old, you hit 30, your value just dropped. So a lot of guys are just trying to get to that point to be like, I'm trying to maximize as much as I can now. So if I can get what I get here in college, if I do well enough, good example. And this might be an out of pocket because I think he's gonna have a really good pro career. Ashton Jeanty. If Ashton Jeanty comes into the league, right now, I don't know how old Ashton Jeanty is. I'm just gonna say he's 22 years old, and he may be 21. Right now, if Ashton Jeanty is 22 years old, Ashton Jeanty probably has 7 to 8 years to maximize his career, which means 4 of those years is on a rookie contract, which means you looking at him probably getting drafted in the top 5, which means he's probably gonna make overall somewhere around $35 to $37 million. He's trying to get to the second contract so he can get that $100 million and then get $60 million guaranteed. So I understand exactly what he's doing. He's trying to get that Saquon Barkley money. He's trying to get that guaranteed money. So when you look at it in that vein, guys trying to pop off now so they can get to it as quick as they can because they know once they get to the NFL, once they get to a certain age, if they play in a certain position, it's not gonna work. It's over with. Unless you're a quarterback or unless you a pass rusher, something like that. They still paying those guys. And even to that degree, they're going to stop paying them once they get to about 31, 32 years old.
Right.
So basically, you looking at roughly about on your rookie deal, you getting 4 years anyway. So you looking to get into that second contract, and now you trying to get 4 more by the time you turn 26, 27. Right. So I completely understand it. I completely understand it. And it kind of has, and the more that I think about it now, it has kind of sifted down to the high school level because you're now seeing guys reclassify in classes to get into college early. Like Kale Ellis at Auburn. He's supposed to be in his 26 class. This man reclassified for the 25 class.
Austin Mack left high school as a junior.
Exactly.
Out of California.
Didn't I don't know, Ty, tell me this right.
Ryan
Williams reclassified. He's supposed to be in the 25 class.
Yeah, that's why they say he reclassified it. Yeah, I didn't know what that was.
Yeah, I didn't know. State Alabama said, "You're too good, young man." He's out here.
That's what they said.
You gotta go, bro. I mean,
I wish they would have said that State Alabama would say that guys at Thompson High School was good enough to make some money while he's at high school.
Trent Seaborn.
Yeah, because he had $1 million offer for some sports car company.
Yep.
And I think it's against the law in Alabama, or it's not allowed.
Thompson also had another guy on that team that had a $750,000 offer to leave the state and go to high school in North Carolina. If I'm not mistaken, and he turned it down and stay at Thompson and win a state championship. See, now that's the kind of stuff. See, as a fan, that's what you like.
Yep.
So he was like, "Man, I'm probably gonna make that once I get to college." So it is what it is, and I can, if I stay 2 years and maximize my time there. Okay, cool. 3 years, I'm out. I'm in the league. I'm 20 years old. Oh, I'm getting to this question real quick. Okay. Shout out to Alan Berry. Alan Berry said, "Man, what do you guys think of revenue sharing and teams getting paid based on how much they bring in instead of an equal cut in conference?"
Let's start conference jumping.
So basically, equity instead of equality.
Yep. Because if I'm Vanderbilt, I'm going straight to the Sun Belt. I'm going to Sun Belt. I'm going to Sun Belt Conference and win some conference championships.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like dominate over there.
Todd, I want to say this too before I forget. You made a great point about Bryce Underwood. I got a buddy who graduated from LSU, and he was so pissed when that situation happened. And I said, Jonathan, what if he bust?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just acting like this is automatic. What if he bust? And then all of a sudden,
In more ways than one.
Like, it's kind of like the Jamarcus Russell situation. It's like it kind of could ride itself here, where they, the NFL had to come in and say we can't give a rookie that much money ever again. And I'll tell you what, it's really going to test if Bryce is a dog or not, because you're already set. You're going into college already good to go.
Right.
So you're going to find out what he's really made of if he really wants the ball.
It's that Steph Curry or LeBron James background thing.
The best example to that, if Bryce Underwood's bust, would be Sam Bradford the year before Cam Newton got drafted #1 overall. Because Sam Bradford got like 70 million,
66, something crazy.
And then the next year they instituted the rookie scale, and Cam only got like 22.5, 23 million. I was like, come on, man, ain't no way that man should have. He was worth way more than that. But hey, it is what
I was saying as far as work ethic, like LeBron's background versus Steph's background. I've always saying like, man, which one do I kind of would I say is more impressive? Like Steph came from money, right? And he changed his whole game, his life to do what he does. But LeBron, 13 moves in 12 years, you better get up and do something. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was struggle. So I'm always impressed by both of their backgrounds. Sometimes I think like, I don't know which one is greater, So, but Bryce, you said like, what if he's a bust? I'm like, yeah, it could literally, I don't know him. But next year, if it's like 3 strollers on the sideline, I mean, you give me that kind of money, man. I mean, so many things could go. He could be good on the field, bad in the streets. You know what I'm saying? Like an AB situation. He could be
you're losing me, Ty.
Well, I mean, like what if you gave him so much money? Okay, let me take him out of it. What if you gave a player so much money he don't know how to act? Seriously. Like, okay, we could look at Georgia, right? But I mean, like worse than that, outside of the people dying, but worse than that in that they go straight from being not even going to jail, just go bunch of Rodman type person. What if Bryce Underwood just end up being like Dennis Rodman? You like,
what's wrong with Dennis Rodman?
On a college campus and all the exploits and running around town and take the violent stuff out with the gun on the motorcycle, but just hooking up. I mean, just
Dennis Rodman was a free spirit. He was a free spirit. That's what he was.
You're saying what if Bryce Underwood shows up to Michigan Presser in a wedding dress?
That'll be hilarious.
That kind of stuff. I mean, I'm just saying, like, eventually that's going to happen to somebody's school.
They'll go crazy. They'll go crazy type.
Just go crazy, man. Money, people telling you, you don't even bathe no more. You just whatever. Chewing tobacco, ain't never chewed tobacco. You just spitting right there at the table. Just something that's just like, if you saw it from a 17 or 18-year-old, normally you'd be like, where your mom at? Who raised you? It's possible. Don't mean he's not a great player either. Could go on the field, they'd be like, well, that's old boy. That's how he is. But you keep giving $70-year-old $1 million.
We're gonna get college sports villains. Shout out to them. They gotta. I want Dustin to go off on this one. He said, "Y'all believe in Jackson Arnold?"
He beat Alabama, man.
That don't mean nothing. What that supposed to mean?
I'm just saying, 24-3. That's impressive.
Okay. He played running back and beat Alabama.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's what
he get his eight games and get that freeze extension.
Freeze ain't getting no extension unless he goes. He gonna have to really ball.
10 games, it may happen.
Yeah,
it might happen.
Do I believe in Jackson Arnold? Here's the thing. If Jackson Arnold was going to Texas with Steve Sarkisian, if Jackson Arnold was going to Oxford with Lane Kiffin, then I would say, yeah, let's see what he's got. Maybe I do kind of believe in him. This isn't a question to me about Jackson Arnold. I'll say this. I don't think Jackson Arnold is good enough to overcome incompetent scheme and coaching.
Oh my God.
So far,
You talking
Hugh
Marcus Lane
Freeze has been incompetent in putting together an offense. His game day management has been JV ball, maybe freshman ball level. Like if I was watching the JV coach make some of the decisions that I've seen Hugh Freeze make in game, I would be like, dang, dude, you don't deserve to coach 10th graders. So to see a college coach stand at the podium and say, hey, my bad on taking that timeout with 2:02 to go. I forgot there was a 2-minute warning. That kind of blew my mind because I don't forget that on EA College Football 25. So I'm kind of wondering why the head football coach of my team forgets that.
Oh,
I mean, 3rd and 4 versus Oklahoma. Everyone knows Jarquez is running it down Oklahoma's throat. You should probably just run the ball here and keep the clock moving. And instead, you let Peyton Thorne make a pre-snap decision and throw a pick six. So, look, do I believe in Jackson Arnold? I think he's got talent. I don't believe in the coaching staff that he has around him can put together a competent offense and will put him in the best position to succeed. And I really don't believe that the coaching staff around him for the 3 hours on game day is going to make the right decisions to put him in a position to succeed. So until I see Hugh Freeze be the Hugh Freeze of old, and I don't know where that guy is right now, until I see that, then that's kind of my bigger thing. So yeah, it's not really to me. I'm solely focused on. I think Auburn's got talent. Do we have a coach that can put these guys in place? I don't think Jackson Arnold is transcendent. I don't think he can overcome bad coaching. I'll say that. So to be determined.
Dustin, I was about to send some money to Vegas to put on Knicks over under of 10. I think you said 10 wins in the playoffs.
Yeah, I got Auburn going 10-2 this year.
So Dustin, before I make this bet of $1,000, what is your take on the early take on the season for Auburn? Before I put this $1,000, I was about to follow Nick in DC to the playoffs and put that money on Auburn and make the playoffs 10-2.
Man, here's the thing with it, and I get it. I mean, I love Auburn, man. I understand. But Auburn fans are still viewing Auburn. I see it right now. They're coming on our show and they're saying, this back half of the schedule, though, man, Kentucky and Vanderbilt, this back half of the schedule. And I'm just kind of silently raising my hand and going, didn't Vanderbilt beat us by double digits in our house last year? Why is this just assumed like this back half of the schedule is easy? Nobody's easy for Auburn. I cannot tell you the disgust that I had that overcame my body watching New Mexico State in Jordan-Hare Stadium blow Auburn off the ball. There was Mercer tight. That's the automatic win for Auburn. Everything else, I don't know.
So, oh my God, I don't know where to start. But so Dustin, wait a minute. You telling me that you?
I'm so sorry, Dustin. I'm so sorry for you.
I'm used to it, bro. Like, it is what it is.
I just gotta ask this question. So you don't think that our coach is good enough to make adjustments?
Man, hold on, man. Why does this always come back to coaching on this show?
No. Listen,
man.
This wasn't. Hey, listen, Nick. Wait a minute, Nick. No, Nick. Wait.
Go ahead, bro.
Wait. This wasn't provoked by us this time, Nick.
No, you're right.
This wasn't provoked by us this time, Nick.
College Villain Sports. Shout out to college sports villains. Man, this
was our work this time, Nick. So I just got to get my questions out. So real quick, you don't think that our guy, because I 100% agree with everything you just said. So you don't think our guy Hugh Freeze is good enough to make those adjustments and clear up those red zone efficiencies, everything you alluded to next year? You don't have that. You don't have enough faith to think that he won't clear those things up.
You said next year, 2026, 2027.
Man, chill out.
He's talking about this upcoming season. He's talking about this upcoming season. That's what he's talking about.
Look, bro.
When you say that, he's already gonna be bad.
It's the context. It's the context. So Auburn, like the first year, right? Auburn goes 6-7. I wouldn't have been mad at that 6-7. It depended on the context. I sat back and I looked at the end of the year and I asked myself, like the Ole Miss game, Hugh's first year, Auburn's in a 3rd and 1. They're driving the ball. I think we were on like the 24-25, just outside the red zone, moving the ball with Peyton Thorne at quarterback. They take Peyton Thorne out on 3rd and 1. They run Robbie Ashford in. Okay. Play clock going down. There's confusion, mass confusion with the play call, blah, 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 blah. They just get the snap off. Everyone in the building knows Robbie's running left. Robbie gets tackled. Nothing. You end up kicking a field goal or something like that.
Yep.
Maybe we went for it, didn't get it, but it didn't end in what it was supposed to be. And then I watched them make that mistake 5 more times. and that's where I said, well, hold on here. And New Mexico State comes in and just blows us out. And we acted like we didn't give a damn because we had just beat Arkansas. We beat Arkansas, win Arkansas by 30-something points. We're going to come home and just blow New Mexico State out the water. Let me tell you something. First year, first game, 10th year. Diego Pavia, I don't care. Auburn should never lose to New Mexico State by 1 point, much less get blown out in Jordan-Hare Stadium at night. At night. So I'm just supposed to ignore that stuff. I just wrote it down. I said, okay, okay, we'll see. I'll tell you what, really, like the first one that got me. But he hadn't even lost a game yet. He had never coached a game at Auburn. So, but I started to raise up when I heard him say, I'm naming Peyton Thorne the starter because he's pressing at practice. I've watched a lot of football, man. I've never heard that. And I was like, well, that's pretty interesting. Okie doke. And then I watched the in-game stuff. So then the second year rolls around. And you told me this was Philip Montgomery's fault. And I'm going to go get Derek Nix to bring in continuity. And that's all we heard. Now I got my guys. We're on the same page. Man, man, two touchdowns, 3 touchdowns would have beat Missouri, and you couldn't do it. 20 points at home would have beat Vanderbilt, and you couldn't do it. And there was no Philip Montgomery to blame. And everyone wants to blame Peyton Thorne. Peyton Thorne wasn't on the roster when Hugh Freeze got there. And you had multiple portal cycles to get somebody else in if you wanted to. And you stood by him. And you said, I can make it right with Derek Nix. I'm going to get in here. I'm going to take control. And it looked worse than it did with Philip Montgomery. And if you didn't have DJ Durkin's defense holding you up, that team would have went 2-10, 3-9. So, no, Marcus. I don't care what this man did at Ole Miss. I don't care what this man did at Liberty. I'm not a Liberty fan. I'm not an Ole Miss fan. None of that means nothing to me, bro. This man is making $6 million plus a year. He stood at a microphone with a straight face and said, I forgot the 2-minute warning was put in the college football now.
I'm frustrated.
Man, that's how I know you don't. He says this all the time on the Uptempo Podcast. Him and Blake. Blake probably is a little bit more.
I know. I watched the Uptempo Podcast. I'm just frustrated because it's just like all the optimism that I wanted to have for this season. You question because I was just going. I was going to wait to see.
There is a Hugh Freeze, Marcus. There is a Hugh Freeze where he told that Ole Miss team, we're going to lock the door, close the gate, throw out the key, and let's see what's happening. I'm waiting on that one. But the Hugh Freeze that they asked the first time he played Georgia, and they asked him, does he know about the Auburn-Georgia hate? And he said, well, we don't want to hate anybody.
Man, I
don't want that Hugh Freeze. Give me that other one. Give me burner phone Hugh Freeze. Give me that one.
No. Dustin, they banned me from talking about this. They banned me from talking about this.
You don't want back page Hugh Freeze, do you? You don't want back page Hugh Freeze.
Yes, I do. I want
back page Hugh Freeze. Oh, Lord. He want to bring back page
DC trying to tell him you got to have some weasel in you. They told him, they said,
I already go to church.
Yes, he did.
I ain't going to even lie to you. I go ahead and buy if that guarantees wins, I go ahead and put his phone on my account.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it can't be on Auburn. It can't be the Auburn
phone. Buy him a new iPhone if that guarantee he The thing about it is,
Oh,
he
boy.
might got to leave out the state of Alabama to do what he need to do.
It's crazy, man. This is funny, man. This is
so
a great show, man.
So you said
we gotta
so
get
you
up out of
don't-
here.
so you
Go
don't
ahead,
have-
Tyke. Go ahead, Tyke.
So you don't have. I didn't get my answer to my question. You don't have them going to the playoffs.
Playoff, nah, bro. In all seriousness, that defense, I think Auburn's defense is going to be great. That there's no excuse for this Auburn team to not win like 8 games based off of the defense. Can the offense hold up? Because I mean, even through these 4 straight losing seasons, Auburn's defense has been solid. The Jeff Smetting one was terrible, but other than that, like the defense has been really good. You've seen them fade at the end of every year.
Right.
Because they've been at that point, it's like, man, I've been on the field all year.
Yep.
Trust me, you know the pain.
Yeah. So, but playoffs, man, I'm sitting at like, and it's not an official record prediction. I won't put my official record prediction out until we're a couple scrimmages into fall camp. But right now, Tide, I'm sitting at 6-6, 7-5. They got to show me something, bro. They got and they got to show me something. And if you think I'm just like this negative person on Auburn, look at how we just covered the basketball team. I did nothing but gas them up because they're winners. But you got to show me something, bro. Y'all are building this brand new scoreboard, putting $30 million on it, and you ain't putting no damn points on it. You got to show me something.
Because I feel like with the roster and the schedule, naturally it's an 8 game. It's 8 wins. I feel like it should be. And the reason why I can't see where Nick's coming from, because I feel like in two games, Hugh Freeze will have to outcoach a coach. And in my heart of hearts, he begged for the talent that he has.
Yeah.
So I feel like, why can't he? And Dustin, I'm agreeing with you 100%. I done gave it the eye test, so I see what you're seeing. But I feel like with the talent that he wanted, that he has now, should be able to overcome his shortcomings as a coach.
I want people to understand why I'm going 10-2. And this has nothing to do with me believing that Coach Hugh Freeze is this great. It's just great end all be all.
Start the organ music.
It's really because he has a bunch of wide receiver. That's the reason. That's it. That's the reason why I feel it. The 2 games I have Auburn losing is at Oklahoma and at Arkansas. Those are 2 games I have.
Nick, I take it a step further. It's because he has talent at wide receiver and he has an experienced O-line.
That's it.
And I'm banking that O-line can get the quarterback enough time to get it up there to those receivers.
Do I think Jackson Arnold is going to be tremendously better from the beginning of the year to the end of the year? Probably not. Just gonna be real with you. He probably gonna be the same guy. And because of the season that he's gonna have, because of the guys that he have around him in this receiving corps, because you literally have in this 11 personnel offense that Auburn runs, you have 2 sets of guys, two sets of players that could be number ones at any other school in the conference. You have Cam Coleman, Malcolm Simmons, Eric Singleton. Behind them, you have Horatio Fields, Sam Turner, Perry Thompson. That's more than likely what's gonna be the 2 deep. So then right behind that, where do you fit Bryce Kane in there? So you literally can go 7 deep at wide receiver and just talented guys that you can just throw the ball to, especially in them first 3. Their catch radius is, you don't even have to be accurate. You just throw it in their vicinity and they're gonna go get the football, especially with Eric Singleton. So it's nothing to where I feel like he's about to scheme up some stuff or anything like that to where it's gonna be like, oh my God, Hugh Freeze has turned the corner. He's found his old mojo. It's literally because he has accumulated so much talent and those guys are just going to ball out. That's just how it is. I think the defense, what we're seeing with the defense and what we're seeing with the defense, what we saw Coach Durkin do with all those young guys on the defense last year, now that they're a year older, now having some NFL prototypical type guys coming in a Jordan Crawford and a Malik Autry and a Elijah Melendez and a Jared Smith, with those type of guys, having those guys in the program and now having them get on the field and get some run, especially with the guys that's coming back that got played last year, I think the defense is going to be even better, especially because of the coaching, because of him putting them in position to be better and putting them in position to make plays. So that's the reason why.
Miro threw 11 touchdowns last year. Jackson going to have less than 11?
I'll
11 interceptions for Milroe. Do you have less than 11 interceptions?
I'll give you my stat line. I think Jackson Arnold's stat line this year is going to be right at about somewhere between 3,600 yards passing. I think he's going to be about 64% completion. I think he's going to be right around somewhere between 32 and 34 touchdowns. I think he's going to be right at 11 or under interceptions. I think he's going to give you about 400 yards rushing on the ground, and I think he's probably going to add another 6 or 7 touchdowns rushing touchdowns. I think that's what it is. And those numbers right there are going to put him in the conversation of if Auburn's going into November. Auburn is a 6-2, 71 team going into November. That's when you're going to start hearing Heisman Trophy type things about Jackson Arnold, because I don't care what people say, that's a quarterback award now. It is what it is. I think who's the last non-quarterback to win the Heisman Trophy? Was it
Devontae?
Right?
Yeah, the wide receiver Alabama was the last one. I believe. So it's a quarterback award. It's gonna put him in that conversation. And then you looking at the quarterback class that's coming out for the 20.
Travis just won it. Travis.
Are we not forgetting about Travis Hunter?
About Travis Hunter, my bad.
Like I said, we never care less about the Heisman.
Right.
Shout out to Dustin. He did say that.
Right, he did say that.
When you look at the 26 class coming out for the NFL draft, I think Garrett Nussmeier, maybe Connor Wegman if he has a great year, maybe Cade Klubnik. Who after that are you gonna put above Jackson Arnold if he decides to come out? Literally be a top 5 quarterback in the 26 class. If Nico comes out, if Nico goes out and balls out at UCLA, he potentially could be in there. But Jackson Arnold has a chance to raise his stock very high with a very good season this year and things stuff like that. So that's where I am on this whole situation. Be a 10-2 season.
Talk.
Nothing to do with scheme. It's just because he went out and got a bunch of talent, like he's been telling us. He needed the talent, and he went out and got it. And it's just too much of it for him to lose. So
what I'm hearing, Nick, is there's no excuses.
Exactly.
That's
it.
Trust me. Please come for the post game show. It's none.
Please.
It's none.
Fellas.
It's none.
Shout out to C Hall, man. He said, I think those kids are just going to make plays. Most of them are team winners. Simple. Shout out to that. Auburn dad said, man, Durkin is a legit coach. I wouldn't hate him being the head coach, but finding an OC, maybe if this season goes down the rail, that may happen because they did just pay him $2.5 million to be an assistant. And Travis Hunter was the last non-QB to win. So
comments. Yeah.
Fellas, man, it's a great show, man. We went for an hour and a half. That's dope. That's what's up, man. Dustin, let them know where they can find you at, my guy.
Look, find me over at the Uptempo Podcast. You can find me on the Just a Sec podcast doing some SEC content out there. Obviously, following all the Auburn stuff over at the Uptempo Podcast. You can follow me on Twitter at DMcShaw28. And just to put a whole bow on the discussion tonight, I think everybody's I just appreciate y'all having me on. I appreciate everybody's viewpoints. I think that having these discussions are important because whether you like what's going on in college athletics or you don't, you have to acknowledge that it's changing a whole lot. Yeah. And you can't be mad at people who have loved it for 20, 30, 40 years for going, hey, what are all these changes? And I want the players to be able to be compensated. I want the good players to be able to develop and go to the pros and be able to play football 10, 15 years. All I want is for football to be as healthy as it can be, whether it be high school, college, or the pros, because I think it's the greatest sport in the world. Yep. I love the fact that 11 guys got to do their damn job. In basketball, one guy can erase a whole lot of problems.
Yeah.
But in football, everybody's got to do their job or the play won't work. And I've always loved that aspect of it. But in order for these kids, these players to develop and be the best players they can be and to maximize their potential and get the most money, the adults in the room, the powers to be, they got to get their stuff together, or there won't be a bag to get in 10 years, or at least it won't be as big. Because NASCAR, the NBA, boxing, there are plenty of examples of sports that didn't handle it when they were at their height, and it's fallen off. And it's going to take a whole lot to happen for college football, especially in the South, because like we just eat, breathe. It's going to take a lot. Like we love this stuff. Yeah. But I just wanted to see football in the healthiest place possible, man. And I appreciate you guys having me on, and I really enjoyed listening to y'all's perspectives.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Dustin. Shout out to Blake. Uptempo Podcast, man. Make sure they part of the War Report Network. Make sure y'all go check them out. Go subscribe to the show. I saw Auburn Dad said he missed A-Man Dusty. So shout out to that. Got a little bit of that tonight. So that is what it is. Shout out to that, man. Tight. Tell them where they can find you at, my guy.
Tight Sports out here on Blue Sky, Facebook, YouTube, and Tight Sports Talk out there on the Badlands of Twitter, better known as X. I have been cleared by my therapist to go back on X. I see some horrible things. Please do not let your children under 25 go out on X without supervision. And I just want to say something I should have said earlier. For the algorithm, please hit that like button. Just poke it right in the eye. Poke it right there. And it's been a pleasure. Nice meeting you, Dustin.
Yes, sir, buddy.
It's just I have never met an Auburn fan.
My new favorite Bama fan.
I've never made a Auburn fan with so much clarity and intelligence and realness and just you just grounded in.
Okay, Tight.
Man, it's just
hey, listen, I'm about scoreboard, Tight. I'm about the scoreboard. if Auburn gets Bama on that scoreboard, I will be talking that.
I know.
But I'm a scoreboard guy. So.
I got a guy named It's Me. He got y'all on a 5-peat this year. I won't tell you what that is. You probably already know, but It's Me. He is all about the 5-peat for Hugh Freeze. He messed with DC every show, and it is absolutely wild. But it's a pleasure being on with everyone tonight. I enjoyed it a lot. Yes,
sir. So everybody, make sure y'all go over there and subscribe to the Tight Sports Alabama Football Megacast. Does a show what I got DC around, not around her, Iron Bowl debates Wednesdays, 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central, and then you do your show at 6:30.
7:30 around the herd where I talk about Alabama and how great we are and we fool each other. No, talk about Alabama athletics as a whole, including the ladies.
Yeah, man.
Jim Tide just was at the national championship. They came in 8th out of 8th, but hey, it was there.
Y'all did. Marcus, tell them what's up, man. You got something to say to the people before we get up out of here, man?
Man, y'all be blessed, man. Catch me Friday, but come back tomorrow with my boy Nick, and we're gonna turn up.
Yeah, man. Before we get up out of here, man, shout out to my guy Marcus. You can't see him, but you can hear him. That's a John Cena move right there. Follow him on follow us on Facebook at the Water Cooler Talk Podcast, man. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at the Water Cooler Talk. If you have a Twitter, follow us on Twitter at CoolersPod23, and of course, subscribe, like, share, and hit notification bell button here on YouTube. We are on the slow climb. Hopefully, we can get there soon to 700 subscribers, man. Here on YouTube, man.
Let's
go. With us, man. Before we get up out of here, man, we'll be back tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern. 7 p.m. Central around the water cooler, man. And we'll be talking some more Auburn sports, some more SEC football. Man, we'll just be talking college football. That's what we do. That's what we do here around the water cooler. We talk college football. We talk any aspect of college football that we can. And we appreciate y'all for giving us a little bit of your time every single night, Monday through Friday, coming here and rocking with us here, man. All hearts and minds are clear, ladies and gentlemen. Until next time, y'all have a good one. Better yet, y'all have a great one. As always, y'all be blessed, man. Make sure y'all get a man upstairs above. He is the Lord. He deserves it all, man. And until tomorrow, one love. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? We out this mug. Eugene Asante, take us out.
Boys and girls of all ages, you're tuned into the Water Cooler Talk Podcast, the biggest podcast in the world. Yeah.
Thanks for checking out this episode of Water Cooler Talks with your hosts, Nick Frazier and Marcus Fitzpatrick. Make sure you like and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform so that you never miss an episode.